Putin's gambit this morning, having got back from China and in Vladivostok, has been to throw down an apparently simple proposition. If Western forces ever set foot in Ukraine, they are legitimate targets. He couples the threat with an invitation to Zelenskyy to visit Moscow under 100% security guarantee. The performance is calculated. It's meant to chill European planning for a post-war reassurance force, to flatter Washington that progress is still possible, and to reframe Russia as the indispensable co-author of any settlement. Paris produced the clearest outline yet of post-war security for Kyiv. President Macron said 26 countries stand ready to contribute troops to a reassurance force that would not fight on the front line but would deter renewed aggression. That is a political signal that Europe is preparing for the day after. Putin's answer in Vladivostok was immediate. Any foreign troops in Ukraine would be targeted, and if there is peace, then there is no sense in their presence. The message is designed to fracture Allied unity before details harden. Putin reiterates that Zelenskyy can come to Moscow for talks while saying agreement is practically impossible. This is the classic split screen. Perform openness while declaring substance unattainable. It reprises the 2022-style security guarantees notion in which Russia would, in effect, gain a veto over Ukraine's protection. Kyiv rejected that before and rejects it now because Russian treaty compliance is poor from Budapest in 1994 through Minsk to the present war. President Trump has ruled out US ground troops but hints at air support. He presses Europe to stop buying Russian oil, yet the Kremlin signals that the Trump-Putin channel remains open, encouraging a cycle of calls and incrementalism. That is exactly the tempo Moscow prefers. Three strands are converging in Europe today. 1. Security, 2. Energy, and 3. Defence. The security, the reassurance force concept and the accelerated bilateral guarantees. The energy, the EU Energy Commissioner says that there should be no return to Russian energy even after peace. That is about removing the financial oxygen for renewed aggression. And the defence posture, the outgoing UK CDS Admiral Sir Tony Radakin argues that Britain is safe for now because of NATO and the deterrent, and frames the coalition of the willing as a European awakening, not simply a Ukrainian pact. Russia's morning today began with talking points betraying its weakness, its own weaknesses. In economics, Putin denies stagnation after Scherbank's German Gref warned of recession risk without rate cuts. When the president must agree with his most powerful banker on stage, that is not confidence, it's damage control. The battle space beyond the front, Sweden reports a surge in GPS jamming across the Baltic days after von der Leyen's aircraft reportedly resorted to paper charts because her plane was caught in a jamming exercise. Electronic harassment is cheaper than strategic victories and tells you how Moscow projects nuisance when it cannot project strength. So how should we read today's threat from Putin, or from Putin's doppelganger? First of all, we should call any Western footprint a target. That is simply to scare parliaments before mandates are drafted. And to claim that peace removes any logic for a reassurance force. In truth, the force exists precisely because prior peace understandings were trampled. And it keeps Washington on a phone schedule. It keeps Europe arguing about modalities. It keeps Kyiv under nightly strikes. The aim is to make the after-war force look provocative before it's even designed or imposed. What the West should say back is that peace enforcement is not a courtesy to Moscow. It is the price of Russian bad faith since 1994. The reassurance force is a brake on recidivism, not an invitation to escalation. And the red line, any attack on Allied personnel under a UN-notified or treaty-based mission will trigger consequences that Russia understands very well. That should be stated clearly. It shouldn't be whispered later. As for the economic flank, lock in the no-return principle on Russian energy now. Starving future revenue matters as much as supplying Ukrainian air defense today. Putin's challenge this morning is not only the threat to destroy foreign troops, it is the attempt to define legitimacy itself. If Europe blinks, legitimacy will again be written by whoever shells first and lies fastest. If Europe holds its nerve, nails down the guarantees and ends the energy dependencies that financed the last 3 years, then a reassurance force becomes more than symbolism. It becomes a promise that the next treaty will be backed by capability, not hope. And that, not a photo call in Moscow, is how this war ends without restarting.